In your car, in the shower, on a walk through the Dylan Hour. Feeling sweet, feeling sour.
I feel nothing.
The Dylan Hour. My couch is open, it's better than therapy. All you soccer moms, all your theys and thems, all your bottom boys, my bisexual femmes. Come one and all, disassociate with me. It's free. Grab a drink, or two or three. You have no friends, all good, you got me. It's the Dylan Hour. Love ya. Is this an okay time? Honey, it's a big day of the Dylan Hour because it is our Theater Girl Interrupted episode because we have one of my favorite theater girls whose life was also interrupted when we were doing a musical together called The Book of Mormon. We were touring with it and then the pandemic hit and she became a TV film star. She was also the person that convinced me to start making TikTok videos, which is absolutely insane. She's one of my closest friends and I'm also really excited because as we walked into the studio, we found out we're going to the same event tonight, which is very convenient that I get to now see one of my best friends all the time around the town. It is Alyah Chanelle Scott. Hi, Alyah.
Hey.
Alyah, we know you from The Sex Lives of College Girls. You play Whitney Chase.
I do.
We know you from Reboot, Timberly.
Oh, yes. What a time.
What a time. And now you're directing, you're producing theater. We're going to get into it.
I'm so excited. This is amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
That you have this entire
production.
It's really a production. I'm so excited.
Would you ever have a podcast?
I don't know that I have that much to say.
I think you do.
Okay. Well, maybe I will.
Okay.
I love it.
First, to start out, I think we should do a Playbill shout out.
We need to acknowledge this.
Thank you to Playbill for our gorgeous pajamas.
We love them.
This is a special sleepover episode here at the Dylan Hour, which we've had a few of those.
These are very us also.
And we have mugs with water to hydrate, but sips on that.
Adorable.
But more importantly, our drink of the week for Miss Alyah Chanelle Scott is a Shirley We're Getting a Drink After the Show tonight because we're feeling flirty Temple. It's a Dirty Shirley Temple.
I love a Dirty Shirley Temple. Cheers.
This is vodka, grenadine, and Sprite.
This was your drink on tour.
This was but still is my drink. I had one.
I know.
I had two last night.
That's terrible.
And do you get them often?
I never do. This may be my first or second. I maybe had a sip of one of yours on tour, but this is this is rare for me. Okay.
First sips. Too sweet?
I don't know where you like that.
Oh, no.
It's you really taste syrupy.
You usually like tequila, right?
Yeah, I like tequila soda. No
it.
Juice.
But you just want straight up.
Just straight up.
Well,
if I'm going to drink it, it's not going to taste good. You know what I mean?
If there's ever a place you're drinking a sweet drink, it's going to be at the Dylan Hour.
True. It's so true.
Okay, let's talk bitter and sweets of the week. What's your bitter and sweet?
Okay, my bitter is I'm having a problem with finding a good therapist. And I went to dinner the other night with a friend and I realized that I'm the problem. So that's not great.
It's her. She's the problem.
I'm the problem. It's me. Her. No, yeah. I just don't give them a chance is what I've learned from my friend reflecting on me. She was like, well, what's the problem? And I was like, yeah, I feel like I have 1 or 2 sessions. And then I'm like, that wasn't it. Bye. And she's like,
how many have you tried?
4.
Oh, honey.
And then she was like, you know what you're not doing? You're not setting the expectation of what you want from them. Basically, you're just judging them based off of the advice they're giving you and you're not liking it. Or you're saying, that's not what I need. And then you're ghosting them without telling them, giving them shit. And I was like, okay, girl,
this
fine.
also feels like when I would send you to psychics, also the same kind of energy of thing. You're trying to catch them in.
Yes, I basically talk and then I'm like, so what do you think? And if what they think
isn't what you want them to say,
then I'm like, bye. Well, not necessarily what I want, but if it's not worded in a way that I've read all the books, I'm you
want to be challenged.
I want to be challenged, but I also what I've learned from a friend because she's very similar type of person to me. She's also a producer. She was like, I basically go in and I say, I don't want advice. I want an ear, and I want you to recognize patterns in my behavior and call them out to me. And I was like, that's so true because I think sometimes when people are like, well, you should do this. I'm like, well, go fuck yourself.
Should you just go to my life coach?
You always say this, and I'm going to tell you the answer is no because she's so expensive.
Okay, but also, it's an investment in your mental health, in your overall career, everything. It's going to be amazing. Just do one.
I think I have. No, that was the psychic.
That was a psychic. That's also a thing we're going to get into. If there's ever a woo-woo to be had, we bring it out in each other.
No, it's true. So that's my bitter of the week, but we're moving on.
Sweet.
My suite of the week hasn't happened yet, but my show comes out in 2 days. So that's very exciting.
So exciting. Well, now when the episode's out, it will be out.
It will be out, yeah.
Season 3, right?
Season 3.
Sex Lives of College Girls.
Finally.
What was kind of what can people expect from this season that's different than maybe what they've seen from you before?
Well, we're sophomores this year on the show, so we're a little bit more confident.
Mm-hmm.
And you go further into like our lives and our worlds, which I am excited for.
Yeah.
And there's some like, I feel like it's the season I'm most proud of for myself as an actor. Just like I feel like I finally got the thing. Well, I don't know if that makes sense. Like I got the thing about like, oh right, this is the tone of this show. This is how we sit in this.
I want to talk to you a lot later about sort of being a musical theater kid, then getting thrown onto this set, having to like figure that out. But I think that's such a sweet, and I think a lot of people watch your show and love it. Like
it's wild.
So proud of you.
Thank you.
I think my bitter is that I don't get to see you as much as I would like.
Yeah.
I think that it is crazy as we're becoming adults. I don't know. I think we were better at like having fun and carving out time for fun and making it a priority. And now I think it's like tonight, us going to an event.
We didn't even know.
We didn't know,
Yeah.
which it'll be fun, but that's still work technically. And I wish, I think even outside of our friendship, I wish I was a little bit better at like carving out time for silliness.
Yeah.
I think my suite is just getting to see you. It's you ground me back to like who I am, and you were one of the first people I ever came out to as, trans. And not like, even I remember the first time that I called you were like one of the first people I called to be like, hey, I think I might be non-binary or something's going on. And so I will say, us finding success and it being so crazy to have someone that knew you before, not only in my transness, but before career stuff, like that is one of my favorite parts of being friends with you.
It's really special to like watch also, to see what's happening in your life. And just
retweet.
Like, wow, I cannot believe that. And then when I tell people I've known you for so long, they're like, what? It's almost like people think we didn't exist before. I
know,
guess
but
we
let's start from the very beginning. We met at Michigan.
Yes.
I was visiting. Well, I did not go to that school.
No, you went to CCM.
Yes.
But we were neighbors and like always played with each other.
Always. I mean, I feel like we were in a lot of basements drinking jungle juice.
Exactly.
At football games.
Exactly.
Yes. But last night, Ashley Park she was like, I've been telling everyone you went to Michigan because it's so...
That's so funny.
Basically, this is actually crazy because a lot of the Dylan Hour viewers might not know the lore of musical theater colleges.
Right.
So I think there's many incredible colleges. You can go to a lot of different BFA musical theater
She's
programs.
covering the bases.
But there are some very prestigious ones, which includes your school, Michigan. I went to the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. Carnegie Mellon's also very good. I did get confused. I wanted to go to Juilliard so badly for musical theater, which does not exist.
They don't have it, right?
Don't have it. And then when I found out that there was only acting and that you had to do Shakespeare, I still auditioned, but I was like, this is not for me,
I'm
girl.
going to get it. No, I didn't know anything about anything for colleges.
No.
Like at all. I had a friend who went to like a school in a town over that was like, hey, this is what I did when I auditioned for schools, and gave me all of her packets and information, and I copied it to the T. Like I was like, this 16 bars, like copied it and copied the schools and was like, this is what I'll do. And I was going to go to Unifieds. Do you remember that? Like,
but which town?
Chicago.
Okay, I did LA.
Okay, of course you did. And my flight got canceled because it was Southwest and it was snowing, and so I missed the Unified's flight, and all my auditions got canceled.
Got it.
And I freaked out for like a second, and then I was like, you know what? Screw it. Like, I'll just go to school for engineering or something and call it a day. And then the next day, my mom was like, we should call the schools and see if you could reschedule. And I called first Michigan. And then after that, my mom was like, just kidding. We can't afford to fly to all these places. So we'll just do the one. And so I auditioned for only schools in like Texas and one in Oklahoma and then Michigan.
No way.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. And that was it.
And then do you remember what your audition songs were for college?
Will He Like Me from She Loves Me.
Oh, sweet.
It was very soprano. And then I did... Oh my God, what did I? Maybe something from Beauty and the Beast, which is just
Home.
classic.
Oh, but you did that in high school. I've seen videos.
I was trying to tie it together.
Is it true? Isn't your mom like an aerospace engineer?
Mm-hmm. She works for NASA.
Was there ever a world when if you were like, well, if I don't get into this musical theater school, I guess I'll become an astronaut?
I wish. No, I was not that
cheerleader.
I was a cheerleader, but I wanted to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader for a while.
Oh,
Still might do that.
You could have done. Did you do that trend on TikTok?
No, I didn't. But I did grow up doing competitive cheer in Texas, which is a very real. You've seen the docuseries.
Oh, it was my favorite thing.
Yes.
Do you remember the last week of
in Arizona? We watched it on tour. Do you remember this?
I was so addicted. And then do you not remember me coming back to LA when we were at the Amundsen and I started taking gymnastics classes?
Yes.
Because
You
I
were
thought
obsessed with this.
I thought I was gonna be the first tumbler, a male tumbler that would be a flyer.
I remember us watching that now in our Airbnb
my God.
somewhere. In
TBT. Now, but so you were never going to be an astronaut, maybe a cheerleader.
No, I was going to be an engineer. That was like the backup plan because I really liked math, which is weird, but
yeah. We're good at math.
I'm good at math.
Also good at math.
Love that.
Now, that you did get into Michigan. You're like, I'm going to go there. God, so many of your classes like on Broadway right now doing insane.
It's crazy because when we were in school, we didn't know each other like that.
But some of our best friends were each other, like Leanne, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie Kurtz, who was Glenda and Wicked on Broadway last year.
She's so good.
She's amazing.
But I think it was because I remember you got Mormon did you before you
I
graduated?
graduated? Yeah.
And then I got it like the week
Right
after.
Yeah.
And I remember it was sort of like I guess we're gonna go do this thing. And
so crazy.
But what I will say is that like when we showed up, I think it was kind of assumed, okay, we're gonna figure out we're gonna be friends. And you really came in though with like this insane work ethic. You were like, I'm showing up, I'm here for a job. And I was kind of like, yeah, like I'm gonna do it.
It's true.
But you did have I think you had an extreme amount of pressure because you're leading this show, and I had a little bit less being in the ensemble. But then I think we found a way to like work hard but play even harder.
I was gonna say also I feel like we learned very quickly how unserious it was.
Yes.
I just feel like you expect something to be like the most.
We always
real.
showed up though.
Yeah, we did. We
we
did
were
our
singing
jobs.
through.
We
We
did.
definitely probably had COVID before we knew what COVID was,
for
trying to
sure.
do that show.
Really scary.
Do you feel like you got the work ethic from college?
For sure.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll ever get that work ethic back.
But I also think we did learn how to like be able to drink and have fun and tailgate on the weekends and then still be able to sing all the songs.
I just went back and those kids, it's crazy what they do. Like just the amount of tailgating, the amount of drinking, and the amount of like actually showing up and doing their work. I'm like, I don't actually think I can handle this.
No.
I don't know how we did it.
No, but now I have like one cocktail and I'm like on my ass and then I can't do anything the next day.
Yeah. I like
It's so
hardly
bad.
drink anymore. I'm
I
like,
know.
what's happening?
Where
not
did
fun.
time go? I guess I'm going to be doing a lot of singing on this one.
You are. I'm loving it.
But then I also feel like we traveled the world together. We lived together in a lot of these places. What do you think was your favorite city that we toured? We did the Book of Mormon. You were Nabelungi.
Yeah.
I was Elder White. Also played like Yoda and like Jeffrey
Making things up
Dahmer.
again.
Oh yeah.
Up again, making things.
Making things up again, are you?
Yeah.
They would have been. They didn't audition me. They didn't ask me to do that before, and so it would have been fucked if I couldn't do it.
So crazy.
But what was favorite city for you and least favorite city?
I loved when we were in Mexico City. I thought that was so fun. Just like
We lived there for like a month.
we were there for a long time. We all
Yeah.
got sick, which was
2 times for me.
really sad.
That was bad.
It was nasty. What was happening in that theater? It was
and like
nasty.
we were so careful, but it was. I think it was some fish.
After a while, like you're eating in restaurants, like whatever, it's gonna happen. But just being in that city was so fun, and we did so many silly activities, and we went and visited like all these random things, tequila tastings. Like it was
Yeah.
just a fun time. Least favorite city, I don't know. I skipped Peoria. I went on
I was going to say Peoria was
vacation.
my least favorite.
I planned my vacation when I got into where I saw the list of cities, and I was like, that week I'll be gone.
Well, and I'll eat at like I kind of just eat junk food, but it was almost in Peoria was a new level of junk food that like didn't even satisfy me. Like I was like, it was like
All
only,
you eat is Domino's pizza.
I know, and I don't think they had a Domino's. I think it was only Carl's Jr. And I think for me maybe I was actually going to say us going to Disney World, but that wasn't us. We like took time off to go do that.
We did that a lot. We would like finish a show on a Sunday night,
Get in
and
the
we'd be
car.
like, "Let's rent a car, and we're going to drive 2 hours to Sedona or whatever, and spend our day off."
Vortexes.
Yeah, or we'll drive an hour
That's
to
where
Disney.
that's where you like discovered Joni Mitchell, right?
On that road trip, yes. We were in Arizona. I forget what city, but after Sunday night show, Dylan was like, "You have to come to this place called Sedona," and I was like, "You know what? I have nothing else to do. Let's go." And we drove at like 10 p.m.
Yep.
till like midnight and stayed at this really shitty
That was
motel.
bad.
With,
What
like,
were we thinking?
I don't know. We didn't know what we were
Scary.
doing. And so on the road trip, Dylan played Joni Mitchell, and that's when I heard Joni for the first time, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing.
And then we just went a little while back to see Joni's concert at the Hollywood Bowl together.
And I got so sick.
Oh, you did? Yeah, honey, what's going on with that? Are you feeling better now?
Of course.
Good.
I was supposed to do this the next day.
This was so meant to be because we look glam.
We do look glam today.
So I feel like that was my 5th year of college with you.
Yeah.
I feel like in a way, we were like kids becoming adults, and then that was also us figuring out what we wanted to do next. And
Yeah.
I think that
What did you feel like you got out of that time? I've always wanted to like pick your brain about.
I feel like I learned how to rely on myself. I think my body became like kind of like a tank. Like I could, I showed up 8 shows a week. I really learned how to coexist with a lot of different kinds. We were really lucky though, because sometimes in musicals, there's some drama. There's some people there who maybe aren't always the easiest to work with. We got really lucky.
Yeah, we had a great cast.
And the producers really tried to make it a fun space. We always had activities and parties. I think that I learned. Oh, I know what it was. I think I learned that that's what I was supposed to do with my life. Because I had never. I think you go to school for it. I had been dancing since I was 3 years old, and to finally be like, oh, I proved to my parents and to myself and to everyone that this is what I'm supposed to do, and I was right.
Wow.
What did you get?
The opposite, maybe?
Oh, really?
I don't know. I think I was like, is this it? I had a moment of just being like, oh, I'm like killing myself. My body, this is so hard. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I learned that I really have to believe in the thing, like the piece and the character to justify like putting myself through that level of, because it wasn't just doing 8 shows a week. It was like doing 8 shows a week and then on your one day off, getting on a plane and like flying to this place or going in a bus. Yeah, there was no time off and there was no space, and like being sick back then was like a stigma. It was like, you're not going to do the show. You can't just like,
was so looked down upon if you were to kind of call out.
It was just like you push yourself to these places, and then I was like, oh, I don't know if I actually like can do this forever if it's not something that I really love.
And then I even remember when the tour was going to still continue and you were like deciding if you were going to stay or if you were going to go. And then you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to go. And I'm like, you can do that? Like, I mean, I was ready to be on that thing for another 10 years if they let me. And I think also, but a huge part of that was like, I wasn't in my right gender yet.
Yeah.
And so for me, this was like the next best thing. And I do see how like a sense of complacency could happen, and like it could get kind of monotonous, but it was like we're dancing and singing every day.
We were so lucky to like be able to just like experience that right out of school and be like, oh, this is what we worked for. Like,
but I now still to this day wonder, because one of my favorite moments as well was us being in LA. We were supposed to be there for like 2 months here. And about like week 2 into it, we were like, wait, I think we want to live here eventually, which was crazy because like everybody else is like, yeah, it's nice, but we all need to live in New York. That's where people that want to do Broadway live.
This is it.
And then we went, this is really silly. We went on the Celebrity Homes tour.
I knew you were going to say that.
And it's so crazy.
You planned it, by the way.
I did plan. I'll take that. I'll take that. But it's just so funny to think about us driving around these houses that
like,
people we know.
That's Tyler Perry's home. And I was like, wow. Who knows if these are actually their houses or not? They probably weren't.
And then the COVID shut us down. You went back to Texas.
Yeah, I went home.
I went to San Diego. I think we were a little like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And
because the one thing that we knew we could do or wanted to do like didn't
was not
exist.
Avail.
Like it
was going to be the last thing back. Like, theater, obviously with like thousands of people in the seats, like there was no world where that was going to come back.
Social distancing on stage, like it just didn't make sense. Like
But when were you auditioning while you were back in Texas with your family?
Weirdly, I was doing a lot of theater auditions.
Really?
Yes. And I was like, thinking back on that now, I'm like, why were they doing that? What were they thinking? And then I started to get some TV stuff, and I was like, yeah, I've never thought about this space really.
Did you study it in college?
I took one on-camera class. I wish we had more, but it was like, there was like an acting program in musical theater, and we were musical theater, and we took one acting for the camera class. And so I was started taping for things, like not getting anything. I taped for college girls. Initially, when I got the like breakdown, though, it said like nudity was required. And of course, like I didn't know anything at the time. So I was like, well, then I can't audition.
I remember that conversation. You're like, and I was like, if they really want you,
can audition then if that's what they want.
That you don't, like, that was a big thing.
It was like a really big thing in my head. And my agents were like, well, just do it. Like, just tape. You don't know if you're going to get it. And I was like, oh, you're right.
You're like, read me.
Yeah, no, for sure. So then I auditioned. And then as I was doing the tape, I was like, damn, this sounds really close to the way that I speak. Like her cadence. Like I found her very easily. And I was like, well, that's cool. It doesn't always happen with auditions. Sometimes I feel like I'm like putting on a thing. Like I auditioned for the Gossip Girl reboot and I kept getting notes back from casting. Like, can you just be more like this or more like this? And I was like, clearly I'm not the girl. So just like, let me be. But this was one that I was like, I get it. And then I did it and didn't hear anything for a while. And then finally they came back and they were like, so can you get on a Zoom with like somebody and do a Zoom callback? And so I did. And I sat in this like orange wingback chair that I had at the time in this apartment that I was in. And I learned after the fact that they talked about that chair after I left the Zooms.
Was this in LA that you already?
It was in LA.
Wait, you had an apartment in LA?
Yeah. Because of the time that we lived in. Because Simon, my ex, was doing Hamilton at the Pantages. And so he lived in that apartment right next to it. So I moved there. It's all coming back to you, babe. So anyway, I sat in this random chair because I didn't have a backdrop. We didn't know how to tape at the time.
Yeah.
And so I sat in this chair, did this audition, didn't hear anything about it. And then 2 months later, they were like, hey, so, can we do a screen test for you? And I was like, oh, okay, this is real. And I remember thinking about like, should I tell my parents now or later? Because, they're very,
material.
they're very religious people, Southern Christian folk. And even them saying Book of Mormon was like shock because we do say F you, God, in the song, in the show. So I was like, I'm not going to tell them until I have the job because, you never know what's going to happen. I probably won't get it. And then I got it and I was like, hey, Mom.
Well, it does. I will say that the title of the show sounds more severe than the content.
Because at the time, we didn't have any content. We had one episode, which was pretty sexy. The pilot is pretty sexy. Yeah. And then, sex in the title and HBO, which is notorious. You're like, oh, okay.
I thought you were fully doing girls.
Game of Thrones, like tits out. Like, yeah. So but in doing it, I had my team. I was like, so I'm not going to do nudity. Let's have the conversation again. I just don't feel like it's right for me, whatever. And they were like, okay, we'll tell them. And if, they don't want you, then they don't want you. And that's that. And I remember being like, this is so stupid. I was like, well, if they don't want me because I won't get naked, then that's not the show for me.
I'll get something else.
Of course, they were like, okay, girl, whatever. It's what you want. And so it ended up like happening, which is crazy.
Has there been a lot of nudity on the show?
There has, yeah. Girls, they get naked.
They've been naked.
I love that for them.
I remember the naked parties.
I won't.
Have you ever woken up with a funky symptom, like a tight pain in your neck or an eye that's swollen and itchy, and then immediately Googled it or went to TikTok to see what was wrong? We've all gone down that rabbit hole before, but it's time to get the help and care you really need with ZocDoc. Get this. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. Can you believe it? We're talking the ability to book in-network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, primary care to urgent care, and more. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, and are highly rated by verified patients. My hormones are always out of whack, and my diet is absolutely terrible, and I put things off to the last minute. That is what I call a triple threat. Luckily, ZocDoc can help me get seen by a doctor right away. No more waiting 6 months just to get into the door. Appointments made through ZocDoc happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. Sometimes you can even get same-day appointments. So stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/DylanHour to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/DylanHour. ZocDoc.com/DylanHour. Love ya.
I feel like directing kind of was it producing or directing that like kind of hit your slate next?
I think directing. I was very I've always been this way, but I'm like very obnoxious when I'm on a set, just being like, and what do you do here? Like, what's your job? Tell me about focus pulling. And so I just love learning how the thing happens. And also I found myself like when some directors would come in and like give notes, I would try in my head to like translate them for people because I was like, oh, okay. This is how they said it, and I think what they're trying to get. You have to do that anyway as an actor. You have to be like, they said this. They said energy to me, but what they're missing is that like the pace is too slow.
You've always been like that though, because I'll even say like on a a musical tour that has been running for like 12 years, you still were like, but what is she feeling like here? And I'm like, everybody else is like, hey. So I think that has always been a part of you.
Sure.
The way that you break things down.
Yeah, I guess. And so I think being on a set and watching other directors come in and out, and some of them being like directors who came from an editing background and didn't necessarily know how to like talk to actors very well, or people who like everyone comes from a different way, and that was reassuring to me because it's like, oh, you don't have to necessarily be a director that I in my mind was like technically correct about all the things. Like some people are very good at one lane.
Right.
And I was like, if I could be very good at one lane, what is that lane? Is it like working with actors? Is it like scene work? Is it like, and if I can figure out the camera stuff, like how does this all come to be? And so I was very curious about it and just trying to like take in information and learn like, as they're setting things up, like why they set up things a certain way. And being on a set, there's no better way to like learn.
And then was Snow Angel, Renee Rapp's music video, the first like big directing moment?
That was the first one. And it was funny because she started doing music stuff and was having to start come up with like concepts for music videos. And there was a song In the Kitchen, which was like one of her first singles.
Remember.
Yeah. And she was like getting pitched by directors, and she was like, people were saying, this, and I remember just being like, well, if it was me, like I would just probably, I don't know, do it like this, and I like gave her the pitch, and she was like, can we do that? And I was like, oh yeah, sure, go, do it. And watching that happen was crazy because I was like, oh wow, that was like a silly idea that just became a music video. And then the same thing with the album, she was like, I think we're gonna do this, and I want your help to like figure out how to do it. And I just thought like concept wise, so I was like, sure, I'll like throw out ideas. And then
but you're a creative director.
It became
you are like
this
like
thing.
The way that you do your house, even like
I'm a control freak, Dylan. That's it's a problem.
You're good.
It's not. I like things a certain way.
So, and then did that shoot go the way that you wanted it to?
That was crazy. That was an insane. First of all, it wasn't even supposed to be Snow Angel. It wasn't even supposed to be that song. That changed 72 hours before we shot the video. We were going to do Talk Too Much, her other song.
Yeah.
And then we were listening through the album, and she was like, I think Snow Angel just has a vibe. And I was like, you're right. And she was like, I think I'm going to change the entire album to be called Snow Angel. And the whole thing creatively shifted like in 24 hours. She called Adam and was like, this is all changing, and we're going to shoot the video to Snow Angel, and Alyah's going to direct it. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? So then it was very quick process of me being like, what does this become?
And just having to say yes.
Yeah, like say yes, and then like let's find a location and let's like figure out a concept and hire dancers and choreograph. Like it was like a thing. Yeah, it was a very quick
Almost
thing.
Maybe better that you didn't have all that much time.
Totally better. Except for like I didn't sleep for 4 days because I was up
I do remember
at
that
night.
as well, though.
Like I bought books on direct. Like I was like fully like just reading everything I could read because I don't want to. I was very afraid of like showing up in the moment and letting my friend down. And this is the same with your show 365 that we like worked on together. Working with friends is so great, but it's also the most terrifying thing because you want to do good work regardless, but you especially want to do good work when it's like your friends and you care about it so deeply.
Right.
And it's there's this other pressure that you put on yourself. They're not putting it on you. They have an ultimate trust in you, but yours just sort of like, I cannot mess this up because if I mess this up, that's not just like.
So then you producing your partner is Thomas, who is a dear friend of ours and you went to college with.
Yeah.
The production company is
Runyon Land Productions.
Runyon Land. And how did that come to be?
Kind of similar. It's like I have these thoughts and I voice them to like my dear friends, and then one day they are like, okay, so do it. And that was that in Thomas. I was asking him a ton of questions about like what he did.
He was
already producing in the city. He was co-producing and producing his own things, and I was very fascinated by it, but pretended to be like kind of put off by the idea of like handling money because I was like, that's so capitalistic, but also how does it work?
Yes.
And so I would ask him questions and he'd be like, you just need to do it. I think you have a brain for it. And I'd be like, I don't know. I think I'm an actor or director. Bye. Because
if you could like tell people that like a general thesis on like what producing for theater is, what would it?
It's a million things. It's essentially like making a startup business for a show and like getting it to opening night. You're raising investment, you're hiring creatives, you're like...
And there's usually a giant list of producers, but there's a difference between being like a lead producer, a co-producer.
Yeah.
What are those differences?
There's usually like 2 to 4 lead producers who make
on like
all
a Broadway
the
show.
On the Broadway show, they make all the like logistical decisions about what happens with the show. And under those lead producers are co-producers who help raise investment for the show and then also are involved with...
Co-producers are finding the money.
They're finding the money.
Yep.
And the lead producers are deciding what happens with the money, basically. Wow. On a very basic level. It's much more complicated than that.
And you've done both.
Thomas came up co-producing. I started co-producing with Thomas, like learning what was happening. And then very quickly we got asked to lead produce on Gutenberg by our mentors.
The musical with
at ATG,
Andrew Rannells and Josh Gad,
which is crazy. And so we said a very quick yes and we're just like, we'll do whatever.
That went well. Oh, and I made my little Broadway debut in that.
You did make your little Broadway debut in that. Yeah, there was a little bit part at the end that Dylan did and fabulously.
Well, and a lot of like, you got so many great people for that. But I think that I really was, the crazy part about you is like, I feel like I'm the type of person, I'm telling everybody, I'm doing this. You are like under the radar and then all of a sudden you post like, won a Tony Award or like, oh, directed this thing. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Like, but I actually think that's one of my favorite qualities about you is like, you just like do the damn thing and you kind of like, you make sure you do it as like well as you can and then you talk about it.
I love that that's the way you perceive it.
That's what I see.
Am just operating in fear and then I'm so quiet and then something happens and everyone's like, you should probably tell people that this happened. And I'm like, okay, I guess. No, I think someone said this, I think it was Eli Rallo on TikTok, and I've been repeating it ever since. But it's like, if you want to be seen succeeding, you can't be afraid to be seen trying. And I'm so scared to be seen trying. So I don't say anything until I'm succeeding. And then I'm like, hey, so by the way. Well, and which is so unfair and not the reality at all.
I was just talking with someone about this morning about like, especially I think if you get successful or you're good at like, you're known at one thing, being really good at it, then you go to try other things, but you're supposed to be as like equally good at those things because you're also good at this other thing.
Yeah, which is not the reality. It doesn't happen that way. You have to learn. You have to start from. I still feel like I'm learning how to be a producer. I still feel like I'm learning how to be a director. Like even though you've done the thing, like I remember winning the first Tony, and I was like to Thomas, I was like, I don't think I should tell people. Like this doesn't feel like mine. He was like, but it happened. It's just.
What was that first Tony?
The first one officially was Parade. We were co-producers on. Mm-hmm. And then the first one I feel like was real was Appropriate this past year. Because we were actually like, I don't know. It felt like we kind of worked for it.
Aren't the Tonys the best event of the year?
I love the Tonys.
It's all that, I mean.
It's like, exactly what you think it is when you're watching it from your couch as a kid. Like in the moment, it's that, except everyone kind of like knows each other and you kind of know people too. And you feel like, oh, this is like a real community.
Right. And now we've gone to a lot of different kinds of events. That's my favorite kind of event. But I think the fact that like you taking this kind of the energy and the trajectory of like what you've done in TV film and then now getting to bring it into producing has been insane.
I think what's helpful in the approach, I think, to producing, having been an actor, is how much you want to take care of artists. And I think the perception of producers is often that they don't care about artists and they only care about like money. And
I felt so taken care of by you when we were working together. Because
I love that.
Day 365, they did the show at the Rainbow Room. We did it for the Trevor Project. I had never even like written a show before, anything like that. You believed in me enough to like help me do that.
Of course.
And I think that what was it like? Like what did you find from that experience?
It was it was great because I needed something to like push me into the role, I think, a little bit more, because Thomas was like, you are a producer. And I was like, no, I haven't done it. And then on day 365, he was like, so you can't say you haven't done it because now you've done it. And I think you being there made me be like, I need to be present and I need to make sure that this is going a certain way, or that we have the right people in the room for this thing, or we have an ensemble that's all trans or gender non-conforming. Mm-hmm. And like, I need to make sure that this is, I'm putting you in a position where you're comfortable and safe. And I actually was in a position where I could do that. So I was like, oh yeah, let me take this.
Well, and there were so many hoops to jump through, but like we did it. And what it taught me was like, you can do the right things and you can work in like a place of empathy and kindness. And like, I had such amazing conversations in those rooms. And I just feel like that, leaving that experience, even that night, I was like, oh, I can do this now. Like whatever, like I can create a show, I can lead a room.
You can.
It was so special to do that together.
Yeah. I think there is that idea that like, there's an idea that like you have to be perfect at something in order for it to be something that you do, but just because you do something does mean that it's something that you do.
And then,
even if you don't feel great about it, it's like you've learned something from it and you have done it, and that's okay.
We like not everybody knows what they're doing. I've really discovered like even people that are like super high up, whether it's an agency or casting, or like everybody's just kind of still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and I love being someone that like doesn't know what's going on. I think it's like one of the best things about the way Thomas and I work, because he's so with it, and I'm like, so tell me how it's happening.
Yeah, it is crazy now to like, because I really believed in college like that was all I was here to do, was to do musicals, and now it's still a piece of my life, but I do all these other things, and I do think that like a musical theater degree is great because it makes you good at so many things.
And if you're not, you can fake it very well.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I feel like half the time it's just like you're learning on the fly. And so some of the time before you know what you're doing, you kind of have to like pretend and like feel it out.
The one thing that I wish they taught in musical theater school is networking, because I do think
so bad. You're amazing at that.
No, but we're getting better together. I love talking to people. I love the art of conversation. I love learning how to match people's energies.
Yeah.
But that was something at school that I don't think they gave us that I wish they would have.
I am too much of an introvert to know how to do it well. I think I can like hold up, but afterwards I need like silent time sitting in a dark space by myself.
But I think it's almost more important here than it is like because musical theater is still in some ways kind of straightforward of like you go into the audition, you show up to the open call, or you get, what's it called when you get just like brought in for something?
An appointment?
There you go. You get an appointment for
you get an EPA?
And here it feels so connection based, and I think that is the tricky part of like trying to.
Well, I moved here to do the show and like was thrown into a very like young Hollywood. Like it was the energy around it made me feel like I needed to take myself more seriously than I did, and I was like, this is actually, I reject the feeling of what this feels like to walk into a room and be like, I'm part of the next gen. Like it just felt so, I was so unserious about it in a way that I think I was meant to be more serious about it, and I shut down and like didn't go to anything for like a year and a half, and you were like, why aren't you doing anything? And I was like, I can't go in those spaces and try to be like myself, because I just feel like they expect something from me that I'm not.
Well, it's also crazy, back to the whole you getting me on TikTok thing, because I remember we were in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you were starting to do these little dances.
I was doing TikTok dancing, which I've scrubbed from the internet, but I'm sure someone has.
I think I probably have them.
I was doing like, this is so cringe. I was doing like, I'm doing the Book of Mormon national tour. Like, I'm gonna do this dance in costume. Like
you did the dances in costume, and I was like, what is going? And then you were like, you're really funny. You should like make these videos.
I was like, Dylan, this is the thing, and you were like, that's for kids. I was like, no, it's not. I swear.
Like, this just feels like it could be like, I just don't know why you're doing this. Like, we're doing a musical, honey. And then we kind of went in opposite direction. Like, you stopped posting anything, and then I started.
Yeah.
And it changed my whole life. What's your relationship to social media now?
I'm trying to be better at like taking the pressure off of myself. I feel this immense pressure when I'm on social media for some reason. But I had a friend say like, social media is now becoming like another form of like media. It's not even social anymore. Most people exist on there and like don't post, they just consume.
Yeah.
And so, in order to like exist in the world, you do sort of have to be someone that puts things out for other people to consume. Otherwise, you're just you're floating in this nowhere space. And I was like, oh, that's so true. Because in my mind, I'm like, this happened with Eli Rallo. I was like, I know this girl so well. And then I realized, I was like, we've never met. I mean, we went to college together, but we don't, I know everything about your life, but it's so parasocial. And you know nothing about mine because I don't post anything about my life, but I want you to know.
Right.
But I get scared of so many people knowing.
And then the only perception people really have of you is like a picture of you at a fashion show.
Totally. And that's not who I am. And so then I'm like, well, how do I tell people who I am?
I love when you lean in a little bit and do like, oh, speaking of like, I want you to be baking videos and things. You did make, what are these?
Pumpkin muffins.
Oh, thank you, Alyah.
Of course.
You're very homemaker.
I'm obsessed with Martha Stewart. That's like, she's my...
Did you watch the doc?
I've watched every doc of hers. I like truly have seen everything. I've got her new book. Like I'm obsessed with her.
Oh, that's cool.
And want to be her. And every time I tell people this, I was in like a meeting with my team the other day and they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I think I want to be like Martha Stewart. They're like, sorry, lifestyle, like, is that something you do? And I was like, oh yeah, that's something I do. They're like, we had no idea. And I was like, that's because I don't tell anyone.
I think that like later in life, it's like you on, doing like a home and garden show. Me probably having like a little talk show. Us meeting up on the weekends in like Santa Barbara or something.
Oh, I'm going to move to like North Carolina.
We need a farm.
Yeah.
I
also think I'm moving to New York.
You want a little bite of this?
Talked about this.
Wait, you're actually moving to New York?
I'm moving.
Honey.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm never here.
Okay, Broadway.
Yeah. I'm only here when I'm filming, and otherwise I'm truly there,
Oh, well, boyfriend.
Boyfriend's there. Office
is that also
there.
crazy for you? I will say now, like a lot of people that you love, I think, assuming you love me, are like chronically online in many ways. Like Reese makes a lot of content.
We met because of Day 365.
No.
Yes.
Shut the fuck up.
You know that. I didn't know. I feel like I told you this.
Hello?
Okay. Yes. He had we'd followed each other for a while, but we'd never interacted. And then I was posting about your show, and he was like, "Oh, I know Dylan from the stuff online. We're like mutuals. Like, what is this? Also, like, you look nice." And I was like, He slid into my DMs to talk about Day 365, but also to be like, "Hey, that's how we met."
That is tea.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're with your boyfriend right now because he's an ally, you're an ally, and that makes me really happy.
We're allies together.
But is it like, it's just funny because I feel like we now go to these events. Sometimes you're with Reese at the events. He's like working and like making the content. Are you ever like, I'm going to whip my phone out and I'm going to do a little talk to the camera?
It's honestly made it a lot easier. Like, I used to work it up in my mind to be this big thing to like make content. And it is in some ways, but he's so good at it that it's made it to me be like, oh yeah, okay, this isn't as big of a thing as I thought. He's so efficient. He just knows what he wants and knows how to get
That's
it.
how I feel about Chris Olsen. Like
They're
when I'm
so
around, like the way that their minds work. And I will say I used to be way more like this until, last year I got so beaten down by the public and the media. I felt like then that kind of put like a fear, almost in a different way than of like your kind of pushback from being online. But it's like crazy when you can literally look at someone and watching their mind work and like how they want to create something in that moment. But we did just run amok at the Wicked premiere.
Oh my God.
We made it. Honey, hold my hand.
Hold my hand. So
we went
special.
to Wicked together.
We did. And it was at like CTG, like the area that we did
right
Mormon.
across from where we did Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
And
this is just, by the way, the visual of us holding hands in our Playbill PJs.
In our Playbill pajamas talking about us going to the Wicked premiere. Wow. I just had a weird like...
Yeah.
But you got like best dressed. I swear to God, every TikTok I saw of you, like people were like, wow, this was a really good outfit for that.
No, I saw one TikTok and it was from Nikki and it was like, I like the concept. And I was like, I guess it's not an insult, but it's certainly not a compliment.
Nikki just looked at mine and said, no.
Which I think is so crazy.
I kind of live for it.
I do too. It's really fun. But that's the only TikTok I saw of myself. I didn't see any others.
I saw others.
Oh, wow.
I'll send.
Please.
But then like, I love how we move about those rooms like a crazy little musical theater couple. We're like,
I basically follow you around and you run around and say hi to everyone you know. And I'm like, I don't know any of these people.
I love talking to people.
I'm very good at exiting conversations, though. It is one of my special skills.
Like,
no, truly, I can get out of any conversation.
What do you do to get out?
A million things. I just like know how to. Reese is so bad at it. We've learned that this is why we work. He knows how to like be in a conversation and have it for 45 minutes.
Present.
I'm like, I got 6 minutes, and at the 6th minute, I'm gonna say, oh, so good to see you. I'm gonna run and say hi to the host. Like whatever. I just like make something up. I'm very good at it. It's a special skill. I also do love an Irish exit. I will go home.
You're always leaving.
Unannounced.
I'm okay with it as long as I get to see you again. Okay, now we've reached what a girl wants. It's what a girl wants here at the Dylan Hour.
Okay.
Alyah, what do you want?
Well, I already talked about the therapist thing, and I really do think I need a new therapist. And that's a very high up on the list of wants, just because I've gotten to this place of self-sufficiency in a way that is probably unhealthy, and it's definitely unhealthy. And I just think I need someone to be like, let's check ourselves here. And it's okay to ask for help.
My life coach.
Yeah.
I really think you should.
I'll maybe see your life coach.
Let's talk about it.
That's what I want.
So what I want
Yeah.
is on theme for our episode. I would like a Broadway musical version of Practical Magic with you as Sandra Bullock, me as Nicole Kidman.
Oh my God. How did you? That's amazing.
I've been thinking about it for weeks.
Yeah, I can tell.
So, because it's one of my
Practical
favorite
Magic
movies.
needs to happen.
It would be so good. I think that because I was also trying to decide which one of us would play which character.
I'm definitely Sandra Bullock.
Yes. And I just think like that would be such a sweet friendship, sisterhood type. It's like not too big of a cast.
So good.
It's witchy, which feels very on theme. Like
Could do the Harry Potter Cursed Child, like a lot of fun magic things, like design wise.
Existing in this really amazing Victorian house on stage. Okay, call Thomas.
Okay,
Thomas
is gonna make it happen.
We actually, you know what? I am proud of you so far.
What?
You've overshared.
I have I was gonna say, you said you wanted me to do the podcast. I was like, I'm probably not gonna be a good guest because I don't talk.
No, because this just feels like we're in our car right now.
I love it.
But it's now Overshare Don't Care. It is a lightning round of questions.
Okay.
You ready?
No.
There's going to be
but it's
60,
happening.
60 seconds on the clock, and we are going to go as fast as we can. Ready?
Okay,
go. Favorite musical?
Into the Woods.
Least favorite musical?
Ooh, Urinetown?
Favorite play?
Oh my God. I'll say appropriate as of now.
On stage mishap?
We used to play Pass the Penny in Book of Mormon, and we had dropped the penny many a time.
Ooh, favorite thing to bake?
A cookie, a chocolate chip walnut cookie.
Favorite Renee rap song?
Snow Angel.
Favorite memory of us?
Sedona.
Dream duet partner?
You?
Oh. Profession you would be if you weren't in the arts?
An interior designer.
Marry, fuck, kill, acting, directing, producing?
That's terrible. Marry producing, because we'll be very wealthy together. Fuck acting, because it's crazy. And wait, kill directing? That's crazy.
No, you don't have to kill her.
No.
You can be, how about a mistress?
Yeah, directing's my mistress.
Deal. Dream show to produce? We're big on manifestation here. It could actually happen here at the Dylan Hour. We're going to put it on the vision board. Oh, you don't want to say it?
I don't want to say it.
Okay, deal. Does it exist already?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll take it.
Okay,
I'll say
great.
what my dream show is to produce. Yeah. I want to do Legally Blonde as a trans production.
Yeah, I thought that was happening.
We're the rights, honey. The rights. That's what's crazy too. Have you learned so? Okay, good job, honey. You did that.
Great.
Few things.
I just
covered.
didn't answer your dream because I don't want anyone else to do it.
That's fair. Well, but that's the thing. I think sometimes you have to tell people what it is you want. And here's what I will say about going on the record about things is if you say it now and then somebody else goes to do it, you have proof that you wanted to do it first.
That's so true.
It's like even what's crazy about like my show Fag Hag was like I was like if anybody else has a show called this I will be so upset, so I need to make this thing now.
I promise you no one else is going to have a show with the same title as you.
I don't know. You're right. But the like learning the back end of like the rights and trying to be able to like make these things happen. And how crazy that now we know like if one person doesn't want something to happen or one person doesn't think you should be in a show, like
it won't happen.
It won't happen.
Yeah.
Every single star in the sky has to be in alignment for.
It's a true miracle. That's why I say like it's a miracle that any show happens ever. So I hate that we don't let some shows succeed because we just don't like them. Like the fact that it's on a stage is a miracle, and so many people worked so hard to make that happen. I will never now like diss a show because it is a huge
and
feat.
Theater people cannot eat each other alive.
I know, we need each other.
We need each other so bad. We need more movie musicals. We need.
I love that you say that because most people say the opposite. Oh, movie musical is in stage to screen, like Wicked, or movie musical is in screen to stage.
Yes, I was going to say stage to screen.
Okay, then yes.
Because you think the opposite.
People don't like when it's screen to stage because they think it's been done too much. But you've proved that original musicals don't get supported. So what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? Do you want us to keep putting like maybe happy ending on stage and then you not going to see it and then it not doing well?
What do you think is the future of like commercial theater and Broadway? Like
I have no idea.
I'm scared.
It's exciting because I feel like more people are getting excited about theater, but at the same time, it's becoming so competitive to have an original show that has no stars in it. Like you just won't make it anymore because it's an anomaly. Stereophonic is an anomaly. That's not the norm. That's a rarity, and it's buzzy because it's so rare. It's the only thing that like nobody knows anything about. There's no IP. There's no stars. It's just like lightning in a bottle.
But it's possible.
But it's possible.
And
Mary,
do you think that's enough for people to chase the dream?
I think
of it?
that's why we keep doing it. Otherwise we're crazy. I think we are also crazy, but
a lot of money being lost.
A lot, so much.
But so much fun.
But it's like, you're making art. That's like never a bad thing.
No.
And listen, they have the money. Somebody.
They have the money. We have a segment, Alyah, here at the Dylan Hour called Last Call Confessions. So we have a call from a viewer
Oh my God, I love
that we're going to give a little advice to.
Okay.
You down?
I'm so down.
Let's do it.
Hi. Just a call. Just talk. I'm having trouble getting over an ex. She didn't break things off in the best way and went and got another girlfriend while we were still doing stuff, and this was 7 months ago, and it's still really hard. And I don't know how to get through it some days. Some days are better than others, and I don't know. Everyone's saying I need to she's not good for me and this and that, and I should cut contact. And I do agree with them. It's hard to imagine. I don't know. I just wanted to let that out.
That's so sweet.
Maybe if you have advice. I've taken a lot of it, but I haven't actually taken it. I've heard a lot. I just don't know how to move past and actually put myself first. But anyway, I love you. You're amazing. Keep doing you.
Very self-aware.
Yeah, I love you. And I'm so sorry that this is happening.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, as someone who's had a very bad breakup before, there's this pressure you feel to move on in an acceptable amount of time. And I had friends being like, have you gone on a date? Like, what are you doing? And I just was so not in that headspace. I was mourning this thing that was like so familiar to me and a part of who I was. And this is not going to feel good, but like give it time. Like just take your time and don't feel rushed to be in a better place than you are. Like obviously do things that make you feel good. Spend time with people that make you feel better about, the world and yourself, and listen to their words, not your own, because sometimes your own will lie to you. But like also take that time. That time is so special and necessary, and there's a reason your body is going through what it's going through, and just let it mourn.
Agreed. And I also think when you're the one that's either being broken up with or being cheated on or kind of being on one side of it versus being in more of a place of power, it sounds like you might be on the more submissive of this situation of, having this person that you're still loving and caring about and wanting to be with, but they are with another person. I think that like you can't let that person have all the power. And I think letting yourself be sad, not forcing, I feel like we've all got the friends that are like the Samantha Joneses, like, get back out there, baby. Yeah. But if you're not there yet, you don't have to do that. But also, I think sometimes when we get our egos bruised by someone that we cared about, we kind of like want it to be restored in a way of like, ooh, I'm going to make them jealous, or I'm going to, do this, this, and this. So they want me more than this other person that they're with. And I think I haven't been in like a super serious relationship, so I can only speak on this in certain ways. But like a situationship for me recently was where like I was like, Dylan, do not find out who this other person is. So if you know who this other person is that they're hooking up with, do not like try to learn everything about them, because I think there is also this like, what does that person have that I don't?
Yeah.
And I think that's really unhealthy and unfair to yourself. And I think just trying to keep, what's it called, where you like a little dignity.
Yeah.
Keeping your dignity.
And know that it was nothing about you. Like,
no.
And if you're having this sense of longing to be with this person and they don't want to be with you, that's not your person. It's just not. Like they wouldn't put you in a position that would make you feel that way. And there are people in your life, hopefully, that love you and care about you, and listen to their words. And like, if you can't see yourself in that way, like love yourself through them loving you. I feel like that's what I did.
Yeah. And I've gone through, I think, a lot of these periods where like either I'll really try to break down like how someone feels about me, or why they don't like me, or how to change myself so that they will. And then like, if they liked me, they would like me.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't need to be this super crazy chase. I do think it's unfortunate sometimes when like if somebody does really like you, you're like, oh, why do you like me so much? And then did you ever feel that?
100%. We talked about this with my current boyfriend. I was like, I don't know. He likes me a lot. And you were like, okay, that's probably good.
I know, good to maybe try something that we haven't. But you've always liked really sweet people.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
that's like the most attractive thing to me. If you're like kind and like gentle and maybe like soft spoken and have a really specific interest that's you're obsessive over, I'm there.
I like people that don't like me.
You do. That's gotta stop.
That's got to stop. But I hope that wherever you are and whoever you are, that you find someone who really loves you.
Yeah, and you love yourself.
Yeah. What shows are you excited to see soon?
Well, we are producing Sadie Sink's show, John Proctor's the Villain.
Yes.
Sadie Sink on Broadway. It is an incredible play. It's been done for years, like regionally in schools, and now it's coming to Broadway for the first time. It's very exciting.
That's crazy when like things that were once then actually make like a Broadway debut for the first time.
It's very exciting, and she's incredible.
Well, I did see a video of her on TikTok of her as Annie. And did you see that video of her
I haven't seen that video.
She's so good.
I love that.
Maybe the Tuts or something.
Oh yeah, she's a Houston girl.
Yes.
I forget that she's
Have you
from.
talked to her yet?
No, I forget
Okay.
that she's where I'm from.
So exciting.
She's from where I'm from, right?
I'm excited to see Death Becomes Her.
I'm so excited to see Death
Big Gage
Becomes Her.
Jamboree.
Big Gay.
Did you work on that one?
Yeah, that's us.
Oh my God.
Very exciting.
I'm addicted to Marla Mindell.
She's incredible.
I love what she does. And then where do we retire?
I'm going to North Carolina, I feel like. I keep saying it.
What's your tie to that?
You know, I grew up in like a small town in the South. And
Have
Texas
you been
is
to North Carolina?
No, never. But Thomas and Renee are both from there. So to me, that's like a vote of confidence that that's like a good place to grow up.
Okay.
I don't know if that's real or not. In my head, it is. And it's away from everything. And it's in the South, but not like Southern.
What about Sedona?
That's too much. Wow. That's too much for me.
Fair. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll visit. Maybe I'll live there.
Where are you going to retire?
I think maybe like the countryside of England or I love like by Yosemite, like Lake Tahoe kind of areas.
Isn't that like Republican though?
Ooh, honey, I don't know. We got to check.
We're never going to retire also, just to be clear. We're going to work until we're dead.
Yeah, I think about like Carol Channing, Diane Keaton hybrid of like Betty White is what I want.
Oh yeah.
What do you want? Who do you want to be?
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart. And she's still
Insider
she's
trading
still
and
doing
all. Like, let me have a journey.
So fun.
She's incredible.
All right.
And scary.
This one's let's take a last sip to Martha.
Oh God.
Aaliyah.
A first
Oh my God,
sip.
you've had what the fuck?
I did it more for like the vibes and the memories and less for the taste of the
Okay,
drink.
fair. And you know what? We do have to go to something tonight, so I'm glad that we didn't sip too hard. But thank you for having you take one sometimes for the team for me. Big ally.
What?
You decided to drink a Dirty Shirley.
Oh yeah.
For me.
Always. I'll do anything for you, baby.
Love you. All right, everyone. Well, go watch Broadway. Go support theater.
Yeah.
Go buy some Playbill pajamas. Go watch Sex Lives of College Girls and everything else that this girl does. And we love you.
We love you.
Want even more of the Dylan Hour? Now is a great time to subscribe to Lemonada Premium. You'll get bonus content, outtakes, and more from conversations with fabulous guests like Joe Locke and Dylan's dad, Jim Mulvaney. Just hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, or for all other podcast apps, head to lemonadapremium.com to subscribe. That's lemonadapremium.com. The Dylan Hour is a production of Lemonada Media. Our supervising producer is Jess Kreinchich. Producers are Carmen Laurent, Keegan Zema, and Aria Bracci. Audio and video production and engineering by Jordan Lin, Ivan Karayev, and Brian Castillo. Our SVP of weekly programming is Steve Nelson. Our theme song was composed by Daniel Mertzleft and arranged by Aaron Kaufman. Special thanks to Megan Strickland. Executive producers Stephanie Whittles-Wax, Jessica Cordova-Kramer, Catherine Law, and Dylan Mulvaney. You can find us online at Lemonada Media, and you can find Dylan on TikTok and Instagram at Dylan Mulvaney. Follow The Dylan Hour wherever you get your podcasts, or listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership.